were alluding to what I said about Mormons is, there we might have disagreement. So you say Mormons are slightly more absurd than Christians, right? Because you say you take all the absurdity of Christianity and then you add on top of it further absurdity that Jesus is going to come to Missouri, etc. Right. I think those are really good points, but to me, that's the difference between 2 + 2 = 5 or 2 + 2 = 6. Neither one is true, so what difference does it make?
Well, no, this is actually, this is a cute statement, and I think nothing hinges on it, but it's actually a mathematically precise statement. If you think Jesus is going to come back, that's one order of improbability. If you think Jesus is going to come back to Jackson County, Missouri, that actually increases the unlikelihood or decreases the likelihood.
If we're talking about math, it's like dividing by 0.
No,
it's equally unlikely that he's going to go to Jerusalem or Missouri. He ain't coming.
No.
The whole thing's is Zeus more likely to come to Missouri or to Athens?
It's the specifics that make it less probable. If you just think he's going to come back somewhere, that's one thing. If you think he's going to come back to Jackson County, Missouri, that's less likely. And that is a mathematically true point. This is just probability theory.
Even if I were to grant you that, which I definitely do not grant you, but even if I were to grant you that,
you're going to hear from a bunch of mathematicians who are going to insist that you grant that.
Okay, that's fine, and I look forward to that, and hopefully we'll get 75 pages on that. Sam, what difference does it make? Both of them are totally untrue. Totally untrue. Nobody talked to the Smith. Nobody talked to Jesus of Nazareth. It's made up.
I only made that point in the context of saying that you can say objectively true things about differences among religions, and even say objectively true things about the likelihood that any one is true. Now, there's another thing that cuts against Mormonism, which many people have noticed, which is we just know too much about Joseph Smith to take him entirely seriously. We know he was a con man and a libidinous guy who just kept making up new revelations so that he'd get it on with the wives of his followers. I mean, there's just too much information on him. Now, the history of Islam and Judaism and Christianity is cloaked in much less certainty than that. So it's easy to romanticize who these guys were.
I think this is a small point, Sam, but let me just say on that, I look at it the exact opposite. Okay, so I know Joseph Smith was a charlatan. My favorite story is when he tells his wife, God talked to me and it turns out I need to have sex with our maid.
Right.
And she's like, oh, sure you do, buddy. And she's the first person not to believe in Mormonism in that instance. And Muhammad has very similar stories in Islam, okay? Very conveniently, he also had to have sex with all the women and conquer all the land, etc., right? But Moses didn't even exist. Well, I would view that as less credible because he didn't even exist.
Yeah, but obviously many people think he did exist.